Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Film Room Podcast. This is episode 29. I'm your host, Joe Baress, along with my co-host, Joby Fawcett. Joby, how you doing this Monday afternoon?
Joe, I'm hanging in there, and not doing quite as well as you because you had an extremely busy weekend at wrestling. Then you had to monitor the Oscars yesterday.
Yep.
And today you're going to have to, as we're recording here on a Monday afternoon, immediately following this, you have to go and blow out your 38 candles on your birthday cake in celebration of your birthday.
That's right, Joby. It is, in fact, my birthday.
So you're not 38, though. I apologize.
I was going to say, I'm 35. Getting close, but...
I knew you were knocking on the door of 40.
Yeah. Do you, oh my gosh, do you believe how quickly it all goes, man? Jesus.
Well, you're talking to a guy much younger than you, Joe. But that being said, honestly, Joe, you did great work this weekend. I really enjoyed your coverage with Rebecca Kivak of the Oscars yesterday online, all the great reviews and your own acceptance speeches that you were giving as proclamation on near perfect Oscars grid picks for you.
Exactly.
So that was outstanding on your behalf.
Thank you.
And I do want to compliment you. You don't look a day over 34. So
thank you.
You're doing everything right. You're very healthy, eating that really high nutrition diet that you're on. And
you know me.
Yes, filled with high fructose beverages and plenty of tasty cakes. So listen, it was a long weekend, but I'm glad you're here doing this podcast with us.
Yeah, absolutely. It's good to be here, and it's great to be joined by our Times-Tribune Athlete of the Week, Beyon McLean of Valley View Basketball. Beyon, how we doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. So what Beyon did this week, so Valley View beat Scranton Prep, the two-time defending champions in Class 4A, for the Class 4A district title. It was Valley View's first district title since 1997. And Beyon had a big game, 26 points and 6 rebounds, and earned the Times-Tribune Tournament MVP. So let's just start there. You know, how incredible was that moment? I saw some videos. You guys were super pumped after winning that district title. What did it mean to you to get that district title?
Oh, it meant the world because we were training for so long, like 12 years. We were all together. We played basketball coming up through Valley View, and our coach said this is our last chance to win it. So we had to put it all on the line.
Well, you certainly didn't waste much time getting started, Beyon, because you really set the tone early, going to the basket with confidence, taking the offensive game to Scranton Prep. You had 9 points in the first quarter, including that dramatic three-pointer at the buzzer. Now, Beyon, to be honest with you, I never played basketball. Joe did play basketball, and he used to hit those last-second buzzer beaters all the time in the driveway. So if you could explain to me exactly how exhilarating that must have been for you in that moment in the arena to hit that three-pointer.
Beyon, did we lose Beyon?
I don't know. Maybe he didn't hear that great question I gave. Oh, we did lose him, Joe.
Long. We lost him. Unfortunately.
What a great question I asked him.
It was such a great question. It's going to be terrible to have to repeat that very long question that you asked him.
Yeah, maybe that was the problem, Joe. Too long a question.
That's it. You needed to get to it, but let's.
So forgive us, Joe. We're going to try to hopefully get him back on the podcast.
Exactly.
He got off to a great start with his first answer.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So, Joe, I was on site for this game, of course, as you know.
Yeah.
And it was incredible. It was just an amazing performance by Valley View. And for anyone who's followed him, and if we do get Beyon back, we'll certainly ask him about what it meant to beat Scranton Prep after 2 terrible losses, heartbreaking losses, really, in the district final the last 2 seasons at the Mohegan Arena. And 2 losses this year against Scranton Prep in the regular season. So it had to be a great feeling for them to get over the hump and win that first district title. And really, it's only the second district title in program history.
Right, Joby. It's just really incredible. It's it's an incredible time. I mean, we'll get to it, Joby, but I'm actually texting Beyon now. Apparently his phone died. Let's see. Gonna ask him if he's able to charge it and get back on.
So you're giving away all your trade secrets.
I know. I know. Let's see here. See how we do. So yeah, no, it was.
So surprisingly, my phone has not blown up in my possession here after what I put the memory bank through over the weekend, because as you know, I pulled double duty with swimming and basketball on the same weekend, and you're trying to do a lot of video and you're trying to do a lot of picture taking and everything else, and that does chew up a lot of the memory.
Yeah, exactly. Joby, you were firing off videos like crazy. It was absolutely insane. So yeah, I am surprised your phone is working.
It is, yep. Believe it or not, operational this morning.
All right, and we are back with Beyon.
Beyon, how are you?
Good. So listen,
that's all right. So you probably forgot the question I asked you, right?
Joby, repeat the question.
Well, Joe, let me shuffle through some of my papers here and see if I can dig out question one for Beyon. So Beyon, listen, you got off to a fast start. You took the game right at Scranton Prep, got up to that, 9 points in the first quarter, which included that 3-pointer at the buzzer. And I was hoping you could describe to me what that's like to hit a shot like that at the buzzer when the horn goes off in that setting at Mohegan Arena.
Oh my God, it felt so amazing because I remember I set a screen for Jagger and then he came off the screen and he got doubled, so he had to kick it out. And I remember looking up and there was like 3 seconds left on the clock. And I knew I just had to put up a shot, and thankfully it went in.
Absolutely. Beyon, you lost to Scranton Prep twice this season. How was your team able to kind of rally on the biggest stage, and you yourself, you guys seem to really like the big stage?
Yeah. Oh, we've been here multiple times, so it's definitely experience definitely plays a role in it. Definitely.
So Beyon, listen, during the course of the game, you and your teammates had built a very big lead. I want to say I got to 18 or 19 points, okay? But then you lost your poise a little bit and things got very chaotic and Scranton Prep started chipping away at that lead. How did you and your teammates recover from the chaos of halftime that led to, some additional points and some more points coming off that lead, and able to kind of regain your composure in that third quarter?
Well, Coach told us in the locker room that it's going to be a tough second half and we're going to have to deal with the refs, and we know everything's not going to go our way, but we're still going to have to fight through diversity and still come out on top, and that's what we did.
Yeah, absolutely. Talk about, you're a senior, so this is your last hurrah in basketball, but you also have a bunch of fellow seniors. I mean, what is it like playing for this team alongside this senior class?
It feels amazing because we left our mark on Valley View, and that's something that will never be taken away from us.
So, Beyon, listen, you've been quite a year. I did the big feature story on you about the service you provided to the country there over the summer. Yeah. You helped lead Valley View to a district championship in football, and now you've helped lead the team to a district championship in basketball. How incredible has this journey been for you from last June when you enlisted in that service to the country?
It's been great, especially being able to play alongside 33 seniors in football and then the 5 seniors in basketball. It's so amazing to have this experience and being able to play with those guys.
Yeah, absolutely. Take us through, I know that, you did the story with Joby about, the National Guard and joining the National Guard. Why is that so important to you? It's an incredibly admirable thing that you do.
Yeah. Well, the reason I joined was because my grandpa wasn't in the service. He was in the Army, And then another reason was because it paid for my college. And it also pays for my kids' college as well. So that's a great benefit that they give us.
Well, that's awesome. Now, listen, so things have been interesting for you here in the postseason, Beyon, because you had a huge breakout game, career high 31 against Mid Valley, another game that I was at. And then, I believe you had 17 in the upset win over Dallas, and then finished up with the 26 against Scranton Prep in the final. Did you come into this playoff experience really motivated to make a huge impact in having this team enjoy some success here in the playoffs?
Oh yeah, definitely. This is our whole goal throughout the whole season. We went. What was our season record? 18-5.
Yeah.
And all for this one moment, and we got it done.
Beyon, what's it like playing at the arena? I know some people sometimes talk about the rims. It's it's a different game. I mean, obviously you guys had the experience. What is it like playing on a stage like Mohegan Arena?
It's everyone says it's hard to shoot on it, but if you could shoot, you could shoot. If you can't, you can't. That's how I feel, and you just got to put the ball in the bucket.
Well, yeah, but you did a pretty good job of making the high percentage ones, Beyon. When 9 of your baskets are layups, I mean that helps the shooting percentage, don't you think?
Yeah.
That's fantastic. That's fantastic.
Joe, Beyon was playing almost above the rim. Now I hate to do this to him, but he had an opportunity to throw down a dunk, and I'll tell you what, Joe, if he landed it, it would have been the dunk of the year.
Oh my God!
He took off from about. He looked like MJ going up, and he almost threw it down, right, Beyon?
Yeah, I know. It was so close. I just needed to finish it. Oh.
But you've had a dunk at the arena last year, right?
Yeah. It was against Prep again, yeah.
Yeah. You can get up. You can certainly sky, that's for sure. Yeah, you played pretty above the rim. There's no question about that in this.
Joby and I don't know anything about that. You got to bring the rims down to about 8 feet. So, and then I could put together some pretty sick dunks beyond you. Yeah. So hey, moving forward, I mean, it's tough to say that you do anything different, heading into states. But how do you guys prepare for states? And do you know anything about Big Spring, your next opponent?
I haven't watched film yet, but I'm sure my coaches have been watching film ever since last week. If I doubt it,
yeah, you know them, that's for sure. Beyon, this is an emotional win for you and your team. There's no question about that, and clearly you're extra motivated because of the rivalry with Scranton Prep. But now, as you get into the state playoffs, your team has had some success in this first round in the past 2 seasons. So how do you kind of refocus and get yourself down from this incredible high to get yourselves ready for this game?
At practice, we're gonna have to lock in a lot more and focus up on how they're gonna play and what defense and offense they're gonna be running. So
yeah, absolutely. Beyon, I saw that. I think an athlete you admire is Jason Tatum. Now, I'm a Lakers fan, so I hesitate to ask. You're not a Celtics fan, are you?
No.
Okay, good. Good, because I see that who are some of the athletes you admire. I know that you put down Jason Tatum, Kobe Bryant, Michael Jordan. People were kind of obviously Tatum admires Kobe admired Jordan. What is it about their games that you admire, and is there anything you try to take away from them?
Their pull-up jumper in the mid-range. That's what I really like about all of them.
Absolutely.
Yeah, they all have great pull-ups.
Joby,
Yes, sir.
You got anything
I'm good.
else for
Listen, Joe, the one thing I want to say to Beyon is I've enjoyed getting to know him over the last couple of years, but certainly this year because he and I have kind of interacted quite a bit. But I can't be happier for the young man because, I mean, it had to be tough for Valley View coming into this game. The third time was the charm. And Beyon, you and your fellow seniors played a terrific basketball game. Congratulations. The district championship, well deserved. And I know You all worked very hard for it, and I wish you the best of luck in the state playoffs.
All right. Thank you. I really appreciate it. Thank you, Joby, and thank you, Joe.
Thank you, Beyon. Appreciate the time, man.
All right.
Take care.
Take care.
All right, that was Beyon McLean from Valley View. Joby, you said it, but what an incredible year for the young man. I mean, a football season, this basketball season. I mean, what an incredible district title, as we've talked about. Does he do anything else, Joby? Is he
I don't know if he does anything in the spring. He probably should run track, but I don't know if that's in his repertoire just
I was going to
yet.
say, he seemed like he could be a track guy as well.
He certainly could be a high jumper or a long jumper, that's for sure. But so listen, Joe, here's the thing. He was named my tournament MVP. Again, this is a very unsubjective selection. I do the actual process of picking this all tournament team. Scotty Walsh did the girls team this year because I truthfully didn't see too many of the girls games
right
over the weekend, and Scotty did, and he was the girls basketball writer this year. So listen, he had the most impact. There were some terrific games and terrific performances by a lot of players this weekend. Yeah. He had the biggest impact. If he doesn't play at the level he played at on Saturday afternoon, Valley View would have struggled against a very high-powered Scranton Prep team. And look, kudos to Scranton Prep for fighting back, but Valley View really played an outstanding game.
Absolutely. And Joby, this Scranton Prep team was a team that was absolutely rolling into the postseason and, clicking. And, I was actually shocked when, in between matches, I was, seeing your updates. I'm just like, wow, Valley View, they're winning this game. And you're right. It was a lot due to Beyond's performance.
Well, I'm going to kind of pull the curtain back a little bit. I'm going to do a story later on in the week as we get prepared for the state playoffs. But so the defensive part of it should not have come to anybody, to the surprise of no one. Okay. So 2 times in the regular season, Valley View did hold Scranton Prep kind of in check a little bit. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Certainly in the second game.
Yeah.
All right. I believe it was 54-51 in that game. And Scranton Prep needed a 3-pointer late in the game to win it. Okay. And also needed a second half, fourth quarter rally. So Valley View led for most of that game, and then it kind of fell apart on them, which had been a theme for Valley View against Scranton Prep over the last couple of years, where Valley View had held the lead in each of the losses in the district finals. So, yeah, it was a good game, Joe. It was a well played game, and there were some theatrics, of course. There always is on the big court, and I always cringe when I see criticisms of referees, but it couldn't have been an easy assignment for anybody to referee.
No,
because of the intense rivalry of the game. But congratulations again to Valley View and Coach Mike Kerfus. He certainly enjoyed this one after the final buzzer.
Absolutely, Joby, and we had so much happen, obviously, and over the weekend. Saturday especially. To obviously, pull the curtain back a little bit. This Saturday that just passed is, I mean, it has to be our biggest day of the year, high school sports wise, right, Joby? Has to be.
It's certainly,
if not, it's up there.
It's the most laborious,
right?
That's for sure. Now, because I'm so entrenched in football in the fall.
Yes.
But we don't really ever have a single 24-hour day that multiple sports are holding championship level events.
Right.
On the same day. I mean, I can't, because football is generally a Friday, Saturday type of thing. But, occasionally we'll have football and tennis championships on the same day and some maybe a volleyball match. I don't know, but
right.
It's intense on Saturday, not just for us as workers covering it, but
right.
If you think about it, okay, we had 5 basketball games at the Mohegan Arena, right?
Right.
We had the 2 regional, well, technically 3 regionals, right? Because we have the girls going on as well, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then we had the 2 swimming championships,
right,
going on at the same time. That's and I don't know why they organize it that way.
Right.
especially when there's always a plea for a lack of officials. But
Right. It's true. That's a good point.
But somehow we really covered everything the best we could.
Yeah. It's weird because it's an exciting time. We'll get more into this. I figure this episode we could just do a lot of talking instead of just rattling off stats.
Well, Joe, because we're never going to be able to summarize.
Can't do it.
What happened, or at the very least, we can't be specific,
right,
as to what we witnessed over the weekend. But what I can tell you as a general overview, because remember that 5 games at one site is quite interesting. It is kind of set up like the NCAA tournament type of thing, but 5 games is a lot of basketball at one venue on one day.
Right, exactly. And Joby, that is the one thing I would like to do. I really enjoyed your all tournament team, and as you mentioned, Scotty Walsh put together a team of his own. Just to name it, like we mentioned, Beyon was your most valuable player. We've got Jerry Rose from Riverside also on the team, Tony Battaglia from Scranton, Robbie Lucas from Abington Heights, Logan Fanning from Old Forge, and also Braden Rose from Riverside. Some hidden heroes, Pedro Lugo from Scranton, Noah Vino from Valley View, and Richie Kostoff from Riverside. It was one heck of a weekend. You know it better than me. Do you have any other takeaways from the things that you saw?
Just quickly here, Joe, because I don't want to talk too long about it. However, we started off with Riverside beating Holy Cross in the marquee game on the boys' side.
Yeah.
We had kind of been looking forward to this 4th meeting between these two powerhouse teams. And believe me when I tell you, if they stay on the course and nothing, derails either one of them in terms of who they may face moving forward, I think they're going to be favored in every game that they play against their opponents in the state playoffs. I think they're going to play again. Now, yeah, play the games. So you know how I feel about it.
Yep, I do.
They play at an extremely high level, both teams. Okay, Holy Cross did not have C.J. Thompson. They're one of their best defenders.
Yep.
Okay, he was out ill, but I don't know if anything would have changed in terms of the outcome because Jerry Rose, he, when they talk about the Mohegan Arena being a difficult arena to shoot at, he has no problem.
Right. Right.
I mean, he scored 39 points in 2 championship games at the arena, and I think he only missed a handful of shots in the whole games, maybe 4 or 5.
Right.
Tops, and that may be a big number. I may be exaggerating that call, but anyway, that seems to have carried over that kind of confidence shooting in that setting to his brother Braden, who also couldn't miss in the first half. So no problems there from either of them, and I thought both played extremely well. But the deciding factor in that game really was the intensity and the tenacity and the physical play that Richie Kostoff brought to the court. So I just wanted to point that out quickly. Now, Friday, I was only able to catch a little bit into the second quarter and most of the second half of the Abington Heights Pittston area game, which arguably was the best in terms of competitiveness.
Right.
Okay. Pittston area led by double digits in the first half, and Abington Heights, Joe, we talk about this all the time about the character of the Abington Heights players, in particular, kids like Robbie Lucas and Jordan Schaefer, who played at the state level before and have that big game experience. They just calmly chipped away and came back all the way back and eventually won a very tight game. It came down to a final shot, I believe. It was a blocked shot that happened late in a scrum, and then that led to some free throws late, for some technical fouls and whatever. But that stuff didn't take away from the overall play of both teams, and both are moving on in the state tournament. We want to congratulate, again, our 3 boys teams really quickly. We already talked about how great Valley View was. Old Forge completed its terrific run to a District 2 Class 2A championship, beating Lackawanna Trail. Logan Fanning was apparently dominant in the game. Joe, I didn't see a minute of it. So I was still in the sauna at Wilkes-Barre Area High School.
Yeah.
covering swimming at the time of that game, but certainly great and a well-played game. And I want to congratulate Lackawanna Trail also on what was a Cinderella run to the championship game. And, of course, both teams will proceed to states as well. And then I finished up at 8 o'clock, Joe, like I do every Saturday of the championship weekend, catching Scranton in the 6A final against Hazleton area. And, Joe, anybody who wants my opinion on this game is, I'm going to be honest. The one thing I am is honest about what I watch. Scranton played exceptional basketball for about 8.5 minutes of this game. And that was it. The rest of the game, Tony Battaglia and his coaching staff were probably losing their minds on the bench because it was erratic at best. And it was out of character for the way that they played outside of that 8.5 minutes. It was incredible. But it was good enough for them to win a 5th straight district championship in their 8th straight appearance in the finals. So kudos to them and a great job by that program to continue the great success that they've had under Coach Battaglia, who earned career win number 397.
Yeah, Joby. I mean, they just knew that's all they needed, 8.5 minutes to get that win. So they they packed it in. They packed it in after that. So, but this is kind of it's an incredible tournament. And Joby, to your defense also, when you say like, I didn't see a minute of the Old Forge game. You did get there looks like you got there for an interview. I mean, I
got there just in time for post game.
Exactly. You were there for post game, and we mentioned everything that's going on. You're our basketball writer. You're also our swimming writer. So you got to try to pull, double duty at 2 different places with all this stuff going on. So to your defense, yes, this is why you weren't at every single game. But
well, I don't mind you patting me on the back for, covering both sports. I will say what I thought was my biggest and greatest achievement was conquering the migraine I suffered by sitting in the natatorium for 8.5 hours on Friday, then getting right back on site early Saturday morning. So I was able to not have to take a little cat nap in between sessions.
Yeah. Jeez, Joby.
It's hot in the natatorium. I'm not going to lie to you.
I can't even imagine, Joby. I can't even imagine. No. Oh boy.
The action was fast and furious, Joe. Congratulations to everyone who won gold medals in those races. It is an interesting event if you have never, seen one live or in person. Right. It's extremely loud because you are indoors and everything resonates off the building. And there is a lot of screaming, not just from the observation deck, but also around the pool, which also leads to some frontal pain, frontal lobe.
Frontal lobe pain, yeah. I believe it. So I'm as always, I'm impressed you made it through.
Made it through, Joe. Yeah. And listen, I actually got a chance to catch some of the action in the girls' games. Great job by them too, all the champions there. I'd be remiss if I didn't mention them. Obviously, Scranton Prep did a great job in Class 4A, repeating as champions. Susquehanna won the Class 1A. They tipped off the entire tournament with a championship.
Yep.
In Class 1A, so congratulations to Susquehanna on that terrific performance. And then we had some other teams. We had some Hazleton area, which is, I believe, the number 1 team in the state.
Yep.
For Class 6A, still undefeated, 26-0, with held off a pretty gritty performance by Scranton in that 6A game. Again, I didn't see any of it, but I'm going by what I was told.
That's right.
By everyone on site, and of course the great tweeting that I received from the likes of Steve Bennett on X.
Yep.
And the updates there from that game. But we had Dunmore beating Holy Redeemer in 3A for the championship.
Apparently that was a heck of a game, Joe.
The girls' games were extremely competitive.
Yeah. They
had a couple of real intense battles there. We had Mountain View winning round 3 with Elk Lake for the District 2 Class 2A championship. Then I believe we had Crestwood beating Dallas in the 5A championship game. Joe, did I miss anybody?
I think that you got them all.
All night.
You said Mountain View, right?
I sure did.
Yeah, okay.
Congratulations. No, listen, the Lady Eagles.
Yeah.
Third straight district championship. I don't know if it's ever happened before where we had a team win the previous 2 years in Class 1A and not, of course, a lower classification, and then moved up to win the next one in Class 2. I think we've had it in football.
Right.
I don't know if we've ever had that scenario in basketball before, but again, people may remember Mountain View went to the semifinals in states 2 years ago, went to the final in Class 1A last year, and now this year in 2A, even after suffering 2 losses in the regular outplay, away with a district champion. And Addison Kilmer, Joe, she's only a junior.
Exactly.
She plays on the big stage too, Joe. She knows how to elevate.
You're not kidding. You're not kidding, Joby. So let's go through Scotty Walsh, our colleagues, all tournament team. His MVP, Sophia Toledo, friend of the show.
Yes,
Sophia Toledo. No shock here. Obviously she always steps up big, and even when she was freshman and sophomore, she always stepped up big. So we also had Jenna Hillebrand, friend of the show from Scranton Prep.
Yep.
And to no surprise either, Maya Jenkins of Scranton Prep as well. We also had Addison Kilmer, as you mentioned. You also had added some WVC kids, Sophia Schultz from Hazleton area, Cameron Vini from Crestwood. Some hidden heroes. We got Brooklyn Anderson of Mountain View, Chrissy Jeklinski of Scranton, and Michelle Nido of Dunmore. So, just a phenomenal weekend.
So I thought this was a pretty good week. I thought it was a pretty good weekend of basketball at the Mohegan Arena. I really do. Oftentimes we get caught up in it, and you're so much trying to juggle so many things: video, photography, statistics, and enjoying the games. These kids all really played very, very hard in all of the games. I mean, again, we had some scores that might not indicate they were competitive, but they were competitive games. They really were. And I think all the teams that played in these finals, they understood that playing at the arena is not only a privilege, but it is also something that they need to cherish that experience and just, as Beyon said, let it all out there. Just give your best effort. And I think we saw that this weekend from all the teams.
Exactly. And really the exciting thing about it, and this is what I want to get to when it comes to wrestling, but obviously, Beyon, I forget who said it, but big time players show up in big time games, and it's not the exact quote, but it is incredible to see these athletes who are teenagers rise to the occasion, just, and achieve greatness to make, fans and grown adults, coaches, their peers, just sit there in awe of what they can accomplish. And that is something that I was kind of lucky enough to experience this weekend. It's, I know we talk about them all the time, but what Brian Hurd and Michael Turry did this weekend at the Class 3A Northeast Regional Liberty High School in Bethlehem was absolutely extraordinary.
Joe, they keep turning heads. These two are magnificent wrestlers.
Exactly, and it's a testament to District 2's rise. In the state, it's you used to go to these tournaments, and you'd be on the side, and when I first started covering, I started going to Williamsport for the 2A, and our former colleague Eric Schultz went to the 3A when I first started, and I'd be in media row, and I hate to bring it up like this, but I mean, people would laugh at District 2, the fact that they were even there. And believe me, these kids know that, and they have been absolutely rising to the occasion ever since, and putting themselves on the level with these incredible districts like District 4 and 2A, District 11 and 3A. Like Joby, how great these districts are. They eat, live, breathe wrestling, and here we are in District 2, and these kids are really putting the area on the map. They do so every year. You've seen in years past, Zach Jacaruso, Delaware Valley, James Pepe from Wyoming area, Anthony Evanitsky, Wyoming area, who moved on to Wyoming Seminary and just finished off an incredible career there. Caleb Marzolino ended up going to Indiana, placed second in the state. Gunnar Myers went to Northwestern, was a 3-time state medalist, 4-time state qualifier. I'm definitely forgetting someone. I feel bad about it. If I didn't say Zach Jacaruso from Delaware Valley, silver medalist and gold medalist in the state. And now we've just got this whole other crop of the best wrestlers in the state. And it starts with those two kids, Brian Hurd and Michael Turry. Turry dominated on his way to the final. And then, I can't imagine, I always played a team sport, Joby, basketball, and I can't imagine being out there alone on the mat and, having the mentality, especially, to put the demons of the past. Now, obviously, Michael Terry's been a great wrestler. He's a 2-time 7th placer at states, and he's going to the University of Pennsylvania. So I hate to use the term like demons of the past, but he lost in the regional final last year with about 2 seconds left. He was leading by a point, and then Jack Campbell gets a takedown with like 2 seconds left, and he loses. So to be able to have that mentality, come back, dominate your way to the final, and then work your way through a very difficult final against Bethlehem Catholic's Marco Frinzi. He's able to get an escape and a very important takedown in the second period, give himself separation, and then finish with a 5-1 decision over Frinzi. It was a great match for him. Was super, super happy for him. You could see, he's ready. He's ready to take that next step at state. So I'll be very excited to see him. Brian Hurd, it's funny. Every time I think about his performance on Saturday, it makes me laugh because, number one, in the finals, Joby, he's basically, there were about 4 times where he was in danger. He was, well, they say put him in danger in wrestling. And like, he was definitely in danger of giving up a takedown for Shikellami's Connor Wetzel, one of the best wrestlers in the state, really, really had him in some bad positions. And somehow every time Hurd got out of it. Every single time he just was able to spin around, or, and when he took him to the mat, he would grab his foot, and it just like Wetzel could never take him down. It couldn't happen. And he had to be frustrating him. And it was funny it's just funny to hear, the commentary, on the sideline. This guy behind me said, "Who is this guy, Houdini?" And, it was such an incredible match. Ends up going into the tiebreaker too, where, it's 2 guys gassed, just fighting for any edge they could possibly get. Hurd's able to turn Wetzel and almost get some back points. He was unable to do it, but he did ride him out for the first 30-second period, which allowed Hurd to just get an escape and win in the second tiebreaker. So he defends his regional title. And, I always laugh too, Joey, because Brian Hurd just did something incredible. I mean, again, to let the curtain down, I voted for him for most outstanding wrestler of the tournament. He did not get it, went to a District 11 kid, but it was so incredible what he did, and everyone around noticed it. And, you talk to him, and and this is why he's such a great wrestler. He always stays grounded. And he was just, I was talking to him. He was just like, I don't know. I just kept wrestling. I just kept wrestling. And like,
Yeah.
that was it. You know, it wasn't like, oh, wow. Yeah. I was really great. No. He just said, oh, I just kept wrestling and that was it. And, to watch those kids, it's really been a pleasure. I know as sports writers, we're not supposed to have any sort of bias, but you can't help, especially when you reach these regional and state levels, to root for them to succeed. So it was really a pleasure to witness the greatness that they showed this weekend.
Yeah, Joe, no, these wrestlers, they really show a lot of courage. I mean, this is a tense one-on-one type of deal for these kids. Now, Joe, without getting too, I mean, I know you don't want to rattle off a list of names, but we have quite a few athletes who are continuing on to the state level, right?
We absolutely do. You know, I also want to touch quickly on one of them, and it's freshman out of Honesdale, Nathan Schumann.
Yeah.
You know, he wrestles at 107. There's no way he's got to be like 83 pounds, but he is Joby, he is a monster on the mat, a monster. In Class 2A, that regional, as I had mentioned, against District 4 wrestlers, there were 3 District 2 and 7 District 4 wrestlers in each weight class. And to not only go through, to win it, winning it is impressive enough. And this kid dominated his weight class, dominated. He had a pin in 26 seconds in his first match, and he had 2 technical falls en route to winning that 107-pound title. It was absolutely, like I said, like you were saying, Joby, I didn't get to witness it because I was in Bethlehem.
Right.
When I saw the result, holy crap. I mean, that is impressive. And to continue on with 2A, the WVC's got a great wrestler in CJ Canes. He's also a freshman. A lot of freshman talent, Joby, which is great to see. So CJ Canes, look for him he finished second in the region, and, look for him to do some damage at states. I was very happy for Blue Ridge's Bryce Woodruff. He had a bunch of close matches last year that he just couldn't get over the top. He made it to states this year. Of course, Mid-Valley's Matt and Sam Almedina, they both finished second. They'll go to states together in a few days here. Lake Lehman's James Mitkowski, Honesdale's Duke Martin, a sophomore, having a stellar year. And then someone you're familiar with, Lackawanna Trails, Demetrius Douglas, making it through in his senior year, his first state qualifier. And yeah, in 3A, again, another freshman, Abington Heights, Jake Schiavone. No relation to Sal, which I was surprised by.
Okay.
But also Mason Whitney, a state qualifier last year. Sorry, a state medalist last year. He made it back with a 3rd place finish. West Scranton's Connor Legier, Delaware Valley's Brady Colville, Wyoming Valley West Caleb Hoffman, Hazleton Area's Mason Morallo, and Crestwood's Lincoln Bibla and Kyle Drana will be going. I'll be going to the boys' state tournaments, and obviously we had 9 girls as well. Wallenpaupack's Gia Silva, Nanticoke area's Emily Kibler and Sierra Ripka, Honesdale Sage Olver, Madison Miller and Jane Mikulak, Wyoming Valley West Bella Sipe, Delaware Valley's Kate Pryor, and Crestwood's Samara Bailey. I want to say quickly, just been super impressed with Sage Olver's run here, making it back to state somehow, coming off 2 torn labrums and the surgery scheduled for the end of the year, and she's just leaving it all out there. This is impressive.
Joe, we always talk about the toughness of wrestlers.
Yeah. I mean, that's it in a nutshell, right? So, it'll be very exciting weekend at Hershey at the Giant Center. I'll be there Thursday through Saturday. It's an intense tournament, Joby, but I'll be there throughout all of it, providing video and stories and results and all that good stuff. And good luck to all our wrestlers. I think they're gonna we're gonna get a bunch of medalists here. It should be exciting.
Outstanding, Joe. Terrific coverage from you and Tommy Fox,
Yes.
from our good friends at the Citizens Voice.
Yes.
It's, again, we're going to continually talk about it because we experience it.
Right.
And fans and readers of the online edition, or even the print edition for that matter, you're seeing the end product. If you really knew what it took to cover these events in terms of attention and time and the rapid pace that these things are going on,
Yeah.
I think maybe you'd appreciate it more.
Right. Right.
But yeah, great job by you two guys down there. It's not an easy assignment. Again, we're not building bridges here. We're not
Right.
repairing roads in Pennsylvania in the spring. Okay?
Exactly.
But it is, there are a lot of hours put into this. Not only the hours on site, but there's hours of preparation that you have to have, knowing where you're gonna have to be, where your eyes have to be. So it is a little bit labor intensive, even though it doesn't seem like we're doing a lot of hard work. We really are.
Exactly. And Joby, you were, like I said, you were absolutely impressive with your coverage. I mean, so many videos.
No, honestly, I got to tell you, to me, it's worth it. Yeah, to me, it's worth it. The swimmers, it's a tough sport for those kids because they're all such great friends because and this is of course with any sport, but in the swimming community, they do a lot of the off season stuff together.
Mm-hmm.
They're part of these swim clubs and they do these invitational. So they're used to those long days. You know,
right.
they come in the morning, they check in the morning, and sometimes they don't check out until late into the evening. And it's quite a sight to see when they have their walk up music to the starting line, and it's entertaining. But Joe, if I could just, and you know this, the real gratification we get out of it is not the byline in the paper. It's not.
No.
It's not. The people coming up and saying, "Boy, you're doing a good job." It is the pure joy on the faces of these athletes.
Right.
Okay. In that moment, that's who we're doing this for.
Right.
And we're doing the best we can. We hope that they understand that. But so if you feel you were slighted in any way, we don't do that intentionally.
No.
But we truthfully are doing it for the joy that those kids get out of competing at this championship level in all the sports that we covered this week in basketball, wrestling, and swimming. And, certainly congratulations to anyone who is advancing and moving on to the state competitions as we kind of get close to the conclusion of the winter sports season. Because, Joe, as you know, today is March 3rd?
3rd. That's right.
It is officially the first day of spring sports in the PIAA.
It sure is, Joby. It sure is. Geez, there was a baseball and softball media day yesterday.
Scotty Walsh, he wiped the sleepies out of his eyes, which is rare for him. And he was up. I think he probably got breakfast at Denny's, and then he got right over to the press conference after it was a long weekend for him at the arena.
Exactly.
So he was pulling double duty too, in case people didn't realize. He was doing the girls basketball tournament, and he was monitoring the extremely successful and NCAA tournament-bound University of Scranton Lady Royals.
Exactly, Joby. I mean, let's absolutely. I think you mentioned it at the beginning of the show as well, but let's give a pat on the back to Scott Walsh, like you're saying. I mean,
yeah, and I also want to include Steve Bennett.
And Steve Bennett, yep.
He logged a lot of hours, Joe.
Yep, exactly. It's a lot of work, and I'll give credit to those guys for going to that baseball softball media day as well, coming off the most difficult day of the year, and then going.
So they jump right back. They jump right back into the car. They're ready to go.
Exactly. I mean,
and hey, listen, Joe, your boss Chris Imperiale had to organize all this stuff.
He had to organize all of it.
He was getting hit with copy and pictures and photos like an accountant on April 15th getting
Exactly, Joby. So we're proud of our guys for for their coverage, and it's incredible. But like you said, the most important thing.
Our photographers did a fantastic job too, Joe. We want to mention them as well.
Absolutely. I feel like we're giving an Oscars acceptance speech, Joby.
Well, Joe,
let's not forget everything before they play us off.
I wanted to follow that theme because you're such an enthusiast for the Oscars.
Well, Joby, can we talk about it? I don't know if you watched the show, the
Joe
ceremony at all. You probably didn't.
Let's not be silly, Joe.
Yes. Exactly. You probably didn't. So you only saw Conclave, right?
I saw Conclave in the theater, yes.
So, it surprisingly, just to do a quick recap here, Rebecca and I, on our picks, we picked 12 of the categories, split at 6 and 6. I went 6 for 6. Rebecca went 5 for 6. The only reason she went 5 for 6 is because there was really one upset, and it was Mikey Madison winning for Honora over poor Demi Moore in The Substance. I was rooting for Demi Moore.
I know you were rooting for Demi Moore, but
yes.
May I say something?
Yes.
You used the word poor.
Yes.
My guess is that's out of context.
Yes.
Okay. Yes, you felt bad for her.
Yes, exactly. That's what I wanted to get at. I don't think there's anything poor about her. But so that I thought she did very well. Not to pat myself on the back, but I've been perfect in 2 straight years now. But I thought it was actually a pretty decent show. Sometimes it's not great, and I actually thought it was pretty good. And Honora ends up being the big winner of the night, wins Best Picture. Actually, Sean Baker was really the winner of the night. He won 4 Oscars, directing, writing, editing, and then Best Picture for
So I saw some report where that's the best day since Walt Disney.
Exactly. Exactly. So, good for Honora. I talked to, a former colleague of ours and our present colleague, Sam Freeman, and Connor Foley, telling them that they need to explain to me why that movie was the best picture of the year. I don't get it, but.
Well, again, Joe, you turned 35 today, so.
That's right.
You had to seek some different views.
Exactly.
Interpretations of the art.
Right. So, hopefully they're able to explain it to me at some point.
Although our good friend Connor Foley is extremely busy this time of the year with the Yankees down in spring training.
You know it. So it might be.
Joe, I wonder, Joe, just kidding, no kidding aside here. I wonder if Connor Foley finally grew a beard now that he's allowed to.
Exactly, Joby. I'm going to have to ask him.
He was always so critical of you and me having beards.
Exactly. Now he could grow one.
Now he's allowed.
The Yankees have waived their extremely outdated policy of no facial hair. I'm sorry.
Dangerous Donnie Collins might be calling in.
That's true. But I'm
sorry. Go ahead, continue.
No, it's fine. I'm just biased because I always have a beard. So, but
Joe, again, full disclosure.
Yeah.
You're the guy who shaves on Monday and has a full beard on Wednesday.
Exactly. Exactly, Joby. Exactly.
You can't shave because otherwise you'd be putting the shaving cream and razor businesses, you'd be putting them out of stock.
Exactly, Joby. So, but yeah, no, it was a pretty good show. Wasn't really the best year, but I mean, Oppenheimer won last year, and that was my favorite movie by my favorite director. But yeah, ultimately it was a good show. Honora's the big winner. Congrats to Honora. I don't get it, but good job for you.
Just to show you my theatrical range,
mm-hmm.
I saw Conclave in the theater last year.
Yep.
And I believe I saw Mission Impossible 7 in the theater. Those are the only 2 movies I went to the theater to see.
Yeah. So last year,
right, Joe?
I actually think Mission Impossible came out last year. I think.
Oh, okay, so I've only seen Conclave in the theater.
Joby, that was, that almost won Best Picture. It was, you almost picked the right movie to go to because it was real close.
I'm a little nervous about the irony of seeing that movie and the circumstances we're in right now.
I know, right? I know. Seriously. So,
But anyway, Joe, before I let you finish up your movie reviews here, because we're going to be running short on time, I want to make sure that we congratulate. And everyone who listens to this podcast is going to say, of course, Joby's congratulating him. But C.J. Dupree from Lakeland and Alabama put on an award-winning display and performance at the NFL Combine this weekend. Now, I texted CJ to congratulate him today, and he and I are gonna chat later on this week. Maybe we'll get him on the show next week. But he's extremely busy. He's extremely happy with how he performed at the Combine. But I jokingly said, I'm at the gym at the moment. I just did 6 less reps than you did on the bench press of 225.
Oh, that's great, Joby. That's great.
Well, in fact, I only did 6 reps.
Yeah, I was gonna say, well, how many reps did you really do? Yeah.
If anyone who saw C.J. Dupree do his bench press, he did 32 reps of 225. I did 32 reps of 110. So, anyone who lifts weights, who has ever seen someone lift 225 32 times, there's a video on my Facebook page of CJ doing the actual 32. Yep. It's incredible.
Absolutely.
And he had a terrific 4.69 in the 40-yard dash. And by all the accounts, I went through a couple of the draft boards, combine review things, and his stock has risen. So that's good for him. And we always like to see local athletes do well throughout their collegiate careers. It's not too often that we get them to be professional athletes, but when we do, we certainly want to wish them the best. And CJ is going to certainly has given himself the best opportunity to possibly play in the NFL.
What do you think, Joby? Future Packer?
Joe, it's going to be unusual. I found it interesting that he met, I believe, with the Lions while he was at the Combine.
Okay, yeah.
Some reports of the 49ers reached out to him or whatever, and those are 2 teams that do have terrific tight ends who he could learn from.
Right.
He's going to be a sort of a project in the NFL. There's no question about that. He's got a lot to work on, as any young athlete is going to who's seeking to play in the National Football League. But that was a great weekend at the Combine. He should be happy, but certainly not satisfied. And he won't be.
No, of course not. So, Joby, I think that about wraps it up for us. We've got state basketball championships coming, starting this weekend, starting Friday. We've got the states in wrestling, as I mentioned, starting Thursday, boys 3A, 2A, and the girls tournament as well. They'll all be starting on Thursday. So it's it's a quick turnaround with everything. And the swimmers as well, Joby?
Yeah, we have 2 weeks, Joe.
Okay, 2 weeks. I got you. So, we've got a lot going on. Keep following, the Times-Tribune.com/sports, Joby's Facebook page, Joby Fawcett, the Times-Tribune, Times-Tribune Sports on Instagram and on Facebook. We'll have a lot more content for you this week. It continues to be a very exciting time in high school sports. Definitely enjoy it.
Always enjoyed speaking with you, Joe. Let's get together again soon.